Every single time I think I'm done talking about this whole Jon Jones heavyweight situation, he has to say something that brings me back. But this time, it's not Jon Jones saying something on Twitter that brought me back. Don't get me wrong, he said something that I want to talk about. But it was also Dana White. I am not the first person to make a video on this. I know Guru made one. I'm pretty sure Tracy made one. But, this really does bother me. Because it's not just that, like, there's a disagreement in the fan base, okay? But, like, one side of the fan base, who has been, like, the de facto, we go to them for news, is saying one thing. Literally everybody is saying the thing. And then Dana White's saying the opposite of it. This is not a thing where, like, only a few people are saying it. Everybody is talking about how Jon Jones versus Stipe makes absolutely zero sense. Now, I'll come to you with my reasoning. Like, personally, I can disprove the entirety of the Jon Jones versus Stipe fight, not even bringing up Jon Jones' name. But the entirety of the fan base, outside of, like, a few Jon Jones glazers and, like, company men, they're talking about how, yeah, the Stipe fight makes absolutely zero sense for Jon. And then Dana White will come out, not even, like, being questioned about Jon Jones. I'm not even kidding you. And he'll talk about how anybody who doesn't put Jon Jones as the number one pound-for-pound guy currently in the UFC, I say currently, they are a casual and should never be ranking anything. I take that as an actual jab to me, okay? I take that as an actual jab. Because it's one thing having a disagreement. It's another thing completely questioning somebody's opinion on something, okay? Let's play this game, okay? Because now Alex Pereira has been put above Jon Jones, okay? Jon Jones is now the number 3 guy in the UFC, beneath Alex Pereira and Islam Makhachev. That is perfectly reasonable. I don't have a single problem with that. For multiple reasons, but you know what? Because I have to play inside of Dana White's rules on this one. Because Dana White, his reasoning is, Jon Jones is still active because he was going the fight but got injured. Does that mean Conor McGregor is still an active fighter? Because everything that you've told us is that, oh, it's just because of an injury. He's recovering from an injury. That's what's been going on. Even when he was filming, he was recovering from an injury. So is Conor McGregor still active? Is that true? When Aljamain Sterling literally had to get his spine redone, you called him an inactive champion. I think somebody getting spine surgery as the champion, but calling him inactive because he has to go to surgery that the UFC paid for, by the way, good for you guys. But that tells me that you guys acknowledge that there was an injury. An illegal knee. He was hit with an illegal knee in a fight. And then wanted to fix himself up. You called him an inactive champion and forced interims. And you made him fight on a 3 months notice against O'Malley because he was inactive. And that was your reasoning for it. And guess what? We agreed with you. But all of a sudden, when Jon Jones is the inactive one, you're talking about, well, it's not actually inactive when he's injured. Then why did you put the interim belt up for grabs? I can tell you why, because you didn't think Tom Aspinall was going to win. Or you thought Tom Aspinall was going to win the interim, but you didn't think that he would be as active or as vocal as he was. Who would have thought if you put the interim belt on somebody and then start diminishing it, talking about how, oh, this dip it in silver, it's the number 1 contender's belt. No shit, Cejudo. That's what it means. He's the number 1 contender. If Jon Jones were to disappear, he is the champion of the division. That is what the interim title has always meant. And what it always will mean. That is why the Stipe fight makes zero sense. Not because I'm taking a shot at Jon Jones. Jon Jones is the undisputed champion. He was never stripped. He is still the undisputed. But what in the fuck has Stipe done? Legitimately tell me what Stipe has done within the past 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Actually, we have to go back farther than that. 5 years. That gives him a title shot. Let's go through Stipe really quick just so I can disprove that. Stipe Miocic hasn't had a fight since Returnal for the PS5 came out. And that was a loss to Francis Ngannou. He does not have a single win in his 20-4 record against any active fighter on the roster. Stipe Miocic should not be fighting. That is an open and shut case. I don't care. I know somebody's going to talk about, well, Stipe Miocic deserves his money fight. Who the fuck said that was a rule? Understand, whoever gets a money fight, it's one of two things. Either you're being useful for the UFC, which is what Stipe is doing. He is putting in there to lose. That is what they are doing. Or two, you're marketable. You don't get a money fight because you're good at fighting. You get a money fight because you're marketable. That is how it's always been done. I don't understand how this is new. If we go back to the pound-for-pound rankings, yeah, Jon Jones isn't the pound-for-pound #1 guy. Now, this is where I will actually take a shot at Jon Jones. I disproved the Stipe fight and Jon Jones fight. We can keep Jon Jones as undisputed. Stipe shouldn't be fighting because he hasn't beat a single person and actively didn't fight for the interim title. And saying that, oh, it's an insult to have Stipe fight for the interim does not help his case. Tom Aspinall is defending the interim title against Curtis Blaydes this month, and I'm worried of something that's going to happen, and that'll be my hook to the end of the video. Alex Pereira goes above Jon. Islam Makhachev goes above Jon. Because the pound-for-pound rankings is not the all-time rankings. That's not what it is. Like, I'm sorry. I am happy that Dana White is not in control of the pound-for-pound rankings. Because in his mind, I assume Jon Jones is #1. Like, what? That just doesn't make any sense to me. The reason that it doesn't make sense to me, because I've learned that for Jon Jones fans, I need to give them a step-by-step reasoning for why I disagree, and I can't just put it out there. And I understand that, okay? Because if I have a favorite fighter and you have some absolute know-it-all that sounds like a rip-off Chael Sonnen with a lisp, starts talking about how your favorite fighter isn't all that and starts talking shit, yeah, I would want some reasoning too. So I will give you a reasoning. I'll give you that. Jon Jones, if you're going to talk about how Jon Jones is the pound-for-pound #1 guy, what fight has he done in recent memory? Because the pound-for-pound rankings are done off recency. They are not done overall. Otherwise, Dominic Cruz would be on the pound-for-pound rankings. And he's not. Okay? That set the ground rules. According to the pound-for-pound rankings, it is not the entirety of your career. It is based off some sort of a recency. So we can't talk about how Jon Jones beating Rashad Evans, talking about how he beat Daniel Cormier, who's not even in the UFC anymore. We can't bring that up when we're talking about his placement in the pound-for-pound rankings. You can't. Because I am telling you this right now, that is a precedent you do not want to be set. I don't care how much you love Jon. We can't bend the rules that much with pound-for-pound. So Jon Jones can't be #1. The fights that we can count. We have to, like Cyril Gane. The Cyril Gane fight does count. That goes somewhere in the pound-for-pound rankings. However, Dana White counts it way too much. Dana White says that the reason that Jon Jones is the pound-for-pound #1 guy is because he went from light heavyweight to heavyweight. And he'll say something like, well, that's what pound-for-pound actually means. Okay. Let's play that game. Okay? Alex Pereira goes above Jon Jones because he won the middleweight title and the light heavyweight title. And did it within 3 years. It took Jon Jones damn near 3 years to go from light heavyweight to heavyweight, and he didn't have a single fight in between. He damn near lost to Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes then went on to get no-dipped by Jan, destroyed by Yuri, and like 3 other dudes that I can't name off the top of my head. So, when Glover, Yuri, and Jan all become champions, with Jamal Hill become champions over the light heavyweight division. Now we have people that have become champion over the division that have never lost to an opponent that Jon Jones has beat. What used to be, and I remember Jon Jones used to tweet this, talking about how Yuri narrowly beats Glover Teixeira, and then he would do this little, oh, that was a good fight, but, and then bring up something that he did. Fair play to Jon. He brings up, I beat the snot out of Glover, and Glover almost beat Yuri. Valid, okay? Yuri still beat Glover, and Yuri Prohaska destroyed Dominic Reyes, even though Dominic Reyes nearly beat you, and you beat a Glover Teixeira that was nowhere near this level. But you know what? Fine. We'll give you that. And then Yuri Prohaska goes out. And then Glover fights for the title again. And then Jamal Hill destroys him. And now the idea has to go now, oh, well, Glover Teixeira's out of his prime. Dog, it was less than a year apart from the fight. Okay? Let's not act like Glover Teixeira all of a sudden fell out of grace. Bro won the title, one of the oldest champions of all time. So, I don't understand this idea that he fell out of his prime all of a sudden. The reason that Jamal Hill winning the title is crazy is because Jamal Hill is the first dude that has never lost to a guy that Jon Jones beat. You can't do this MMA math bullshit putting Jon Jones above Jamal Hill and saying Jon Jones would beat Jamal based off one dude that beat Jamal Hill that Jon Jones beat. You can't play that game anymore. That's why Jamal Hill becoming champion was a big deal. In the meantime, Alex Pereira wins the middleweight title, beating one of the greatest, if not the greatest middleweight of all time, Israel Adesanya. Listen, I'll talk shit about Israel Adesanya all I want. He is the best, if not the second greatest middleweight of all time. I will say that. Alex Pereira beats him. I know people are going to bring up, oh, well, he got finished by Izzy. One of the greatest strikers in UFC history. KO'd another striker. How fucking crazy is that? So, okay. Alex Pereira goes up, beats Jan, who beat Dominic Cruz. Not Dominic Cruz, damn it. Dominic Reyes. And then he beats Yuri, who then beat Dominic Reyes. So people that beat somebody that almost beat Jon Jones. Keep in mind, this has all happened within a span of time that took Jon Jones to fight in heavyweight. And then he beats Jamal Hill, a dude who no-diffed a guy that went up against Jon. Jamal Hill's the only other dude to beat Glover like Jon Jones did. And Alex Pereira got it done in round 1. And then he beat Yuri again. Alex Pereira 100% deserves to go above Jon when you take into account that the only fights that we can really count for Jon that are in recent memory that would actually put you on the pound for pound is a fight against Dominic Reyes, who then fell off, and a fight against Cyril Gane, who got out-wrestled by a guy, Francis Ngannou, that hasn't wrestled until he was 25 years old. And a guy, Cyril Gane's not even ranked in the top 20 pound for pound of all time. So yeah, Alex Pereira and Islam Makhachev go above Jon Jones. Okay? This caliber of opponents. If you want to say Jon Jones is pound for pound number 1 because he went from light heavyweight to heavyweight, guess what? Alex Pereira went over middleweight. Middleweight's better than heavyweight. And then he won light heavyweight, the generation that beat up Dominic Cruz. Damn it, Dominic Reyes. Too many Dominics. After I've defended that, one last thing that I do want to talk about is this whole Tom Aspinall thing. The reason the Aspinall versus Jones fight is the only logical fight, I'm not even going to say the next, it is the only logical fight, is Tom Aspinall is the only other heavyweight that is ranked in the pound for pound rankings. In that division, it is Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. There is nobody else that's ranked in the pound for pound rankings. So, if Jon Jones cared about legacy, wouldn't you fight the dude who's actually ranked in the pound for pound rankings and not like a geriatric Stipe? A guy who hasn't fought since the month that Returnal released the PS5 launch title? Yeah, no, I'm not kidding you. You can actually look that up. The Stipe fight's so dumb, dude. Tom Aspinall is the interim champion that's defending the title before the actual champion. That has never happened before, where the interim champion managed to defend the title before the undisputed. And that's going to happen this month. My worry is in something that Chael Sonnen said. Chael said in an interview he did, I forget what it was, but it was a while back. He said, the moment that Jon Jones wins the undisputed title, and that belt goes around his waist, the entirety of the interim title heritage, everything that he has done, will mean absolutely nothing because the UFC can, and I believe will, strip him the night that Jon Jones wins the title. If we cannot let that happen, okay? Because what they're then going to do is find a way to justify Alex Pereira jumping the line to fight Jon Jones. Let me first start off, okay? Alex Pereira has never once said he wanted to fight Jon. He was interested in going up to heavyweight. And here's the funny part, bro. He wanted to fight Tom because he sees Tom as the actual champion. Like, think about that. Alex Pereira, when he goes up to heavyweight, would rather fight Tom Aspinall than Jon. And he's only ever expressed interest in fighting Tom Aspinall because he views Tom Aspinall as the actual champion. But then Jon Jones has this idea that, oh, if Alex Pereira really wants to fight me, then he's going to have to beat Tom Aspinall to earn it. No, he doesn't. You do. You are the undisputed champion that has allowed your division to get another champion. You have to unify the titles for you to call shots in the division. This whole idea of, well, Jon Jones has done enough for the company. He's done enough to choose his fights. Okay, I don't want to hear any more fucking complaining whenever any other fighter does that. The moment you start allowing champions to choose their own fights, don't get pissed off when the entirety of the UFC turns into boxing. It will. That is how it started. If you want to allow him to choose one fight, fine. He can choose Stipe. He is not going to choose Alex Pereira over Tom Aspinall. That makes zero sense. This thought that you're going to have Alex Pereira beat the dude that's bullying you, John, Tom Aspinall, is silly. Fight the dude, unify the titles, and then you can have your last money fight with Alex, where I do believe you will win because Alex Pereira's wrestling isn't great. But at the same time, I can see Alex Pereira literally just proving the existence of plot armor and knock out everybody. The heavyweight division is a boiling mess, okay? It is hot garbage right now. You have a person that people are calling the pretender champion that are working in the UFC, and then you have the actual people who make YouTube videos covering the sport for a living. That their opinions, their thoughts on the sports are now being thrown into question because Dana White has decided to make it a narrative that saying that Jon Jones is not the pound-for-pound number one guy makes everybody's opinion mean nothing. That is why people are attacking this as much as they are, because now you are actually taking a stab at people's livelihood. Jon Jones is not the pound-for-pound guy. Jon Jones shouldn't be fighting Stipe because Stipe doesn't deserve it. He should be fighting Tom, and he doesn't get to call the shots for a dude who's ranked higher than him in the pound-for-pound rankings. Alex Pereira views Tom Aspinall as the actual heavyweight champion. Think about that. But there you go. I just want to rant about that really quick. It feels good to be back, dude. So yeah, I'm going to be doing video on this channel, video on the other channel, and that's how it's going to be for a while. I wanted to get another video on this one. No more week-long gaps. I'm sorry for any of that. I'm back, boys. The part-timer has returned, and I will see you all either tomorrow or the day after that. Adios, guys.